Guns at the ready. It's time for 10 of the best FPS games. No genre is more iconic to gaming than the first-person shooter. You might favor the twitchy online FPS, flicking your Pro X Superlights to glorious victory.
Last player standing.
No more.
Or perhaps you're a lone adventurer who loves nothing more than being immersed in some new and dangerous single-player world in all its surround sound glory. Either way, we can all agree that FPS games are great. And you know what else is great? Subscribing to Logicool G for more videos on all things gaming. For now though, here are the best FPS games to play on PC. What makes a good FPS can be debated. Sometimes we want careful stalking of prey and a perfectly aimed shot. Sometimes we want teamwork to bring down the enemy. And sometimes we want a demon-infested Earth in which we can go absolutely wild, shooting everything in sight. Enter Doom in its most recent incarnation. An FPS where you don't need to hold back. Where the more you shoot, the more you maim, the better. You truly can be trigger happy here. If it moves, you probably need to shoot it. Team that up with an epic soundtrack to pump you up, and there's few other FPS games to make you feel this badass. I mean, there's a gun with a meat hook that lets you yank your way towards mutated beings and fly around them like an elegant angel of death. Soaring through dilapidated buildings and pulling out eyes, we couldn't imagine a better end-of-the-world experience.
Does he not seek enhanced power? Gifts to aid him in his noble conquest, perhaps in return for my...
We've had shooty fun in Borderlands for years, and the expansive and action-packed third installment is no different. Guns upon guns upon guns are available to blast, frag, and generally cause chaos across Pandora and beyond. There's a little bit of story and exploration, but mainly you'll be letting loose your ammo clip on skags and fanatics every other moment. Or hunting for loot, and therefore more guns. Which leads to more shooting, which leads to more looting, which is a cycle that somehow doesn't get boring. I can play for hours, and I'm still excited to see glowing green boxes. There's even all sorts of otherworldly effects and powers to upgrade every shot you fire. Which, with Light Sync, all comes to life. If you're on fire, your setup will be too. Not literally though, just in a fun way. So get elemental and you can ice enemies wherever you go. Pun fully intended.
All right, let's get to it.
We ride! Onward to Promethea!
If you're looking for an online shooter with a bit of a difference, then the folklore-rich and occult world of Hunt Showdown should be your next destination. Set in the Louisiana swamps, you're tasked to hunt down mythical creatures, but as a bounty hunter, everyone else is your competition. Only one of you can get the kill and therefore the reward. Unless, of course, someone comes along and snipes you straight after and claims it for themselves. It's a balance between finding weird beasts to slay and watching your back to stay safe from other players. Showdown is a hunting game with the action and fear dialed up, as let's face it, no one wants to deal with that. Luckily though, with a gun in hand, it shouldn't be a problem for long. There's plenty of opportunity to switch between long-distance sniping and up-close quick-fire combat, so however you want to deal with the infested world, you can. Although my option of legging it doesn't seem to work. 2 and a bit years into its life, Battlefield 5 is still going strong and remains one of the most sublimely chaotic multiplayer experiences in all of gaming. The health system, sound design, and gunplay are arguably the best of the series, and the maps are jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The sense that you're fighting as part of a team has never been greater, but at the same time, your individual actions always feel like they're influencing the flow of the battle. DICE nailed all the little details too. How's this for a headshot sound? Satisfying, metallic, and yet slightly squelchy off the top. Perfect. And of course, it'd be remiss of us not to point out that if you're using Logicool G gear, then you'll benefit from a light sync integration that helps you find the right key in a tight spot. And sound optimized especially for our Pro G driven headsets. So it feels a little like cheating to have Superhot on the list, as it's not your standard FPS. But if you want to try something different, then keep listening. Superhot is your standard affair only in the sense that you have enemies you need to take down with guns and various other weapons. The difference is that the time stands still unless you're moving. So every fight is like a puzzle as you take time to assess your situation and only move, aim, or fire after you think you've got it worked out. When you move, everyone else does too, so it's not as easy as lining up the kills and winning. You can stop time at any moment though, so get ready to dodge bullets as they come, line up weapons to throw, and generally feel like the action hero you've always wanted to be. Like Hunt Showdown, Deep Rock Galactic is another multiplayer that won't see you running around the same beige map for hours. Not that we're bashing that, we love it too. But the bright and brilliant world of dwarf mining is certainly something unique to the genre. In outer space, you need to group up with friends and head to procedurally generated caves to collect resources. Then hopefully get out before the dropship leaves.
By the beard!
Unfortunately, for those who hate spiders, but fortunately for the rest of us who like to shoot things, the caverns are filled with alien monsters. So it's guns and flamethrowers at the ready to keep your equipment and friends safe. Plus, while you're not fighting off deadly creatures, you have the rest of the mining and exploration to enjoy. The fact that anything in sight can be dug through is endlessly fun, even if it's not very useful for your team.
Drop pod powered up and ready to leave. It's time to bring it all home. Get on board, we're leaving with or without you.
Rainbow Six Siege is one of those FPS games where everything you do between shooting is just as important as the fighting itself. Two teams play as attackers and defenders. The beginning of the round is left to set up the defenses on one side, while the other just sits around twiddling their thumbs and drinking a cup of tea out of a thermos, or gathering intel using drones and cameras.
Drone has located a bomb.
It's these gadgets on both sides that make Six Siege such a standout online shooter. The strategic decisions you all make in the first few minutes can win or lose the game. Whether you block a certain door or spot an enemy's hiding place, you'll struggle to get that killer headshot if you haven't put in the prep work. That's not to say that the shooting isn't important in its own right though, because when you've set up a solid defense or attack, that's when Six Siege's FPS gameplay really shines like gunmetal. Not only is it one of the most anticipated sequels to a series and a VR masterpiece, but Half-Life Alyx is a great FPS too. Between all the picking up of items and throwing them and generally causing mischief in the environment, you have to fight off a fair amount of headcrabs and aliens. And thanks to the realistic physics, the shooting becomes much more palpable. Reloading is something you have to do with your own two hands, and checking behind you means actually turning. The fear and the excitement of being in an FPS has never felt closer than in Half-Life Alyx, and the fun of picking things up. Ew. There's an incredible story, characters you'd lay your life down for, and free exploration, but around that you'll be relying on your trigger finger to stay safe and have a good time. If this can be called a good time.
Are they safe for people?
Yeah, I use them all the time.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're great.
Ow, ow, ow.
Halo is to the FPS genre as vanilla is to ice cream flavors, like pumpkins to Halloween. Even if you've never played a second, you'll know the name Master Chief and recognize that assault armor anywhere.
You know how expensive this gear is, son?
Tell that to the Covenant.
Halo the Master Chief Collection is 6 iconic games in one, updated and ready for PC. You can play solo through the series shooting your way through the Covenant or team up online. While the multiplayer games aren't quite in their former glory of being the most played on Xbox Live for 2 years running, there's still a lot to be said for going back to Halo in 2021, not only as a way to get you ready for the release of Halo Infinite, although there is that.
Double kill, triple kill.
But whether you're playing with friends or getting lost in the campaign all over again, Halo is an FPS with heart, story, and a whole lot of aliens to shoot.
Let's move, Lieutenant.
We're treating you at the end here to a brilliant game that is absolutely free. Valorant has taken what we love about classic online shooters and injected it with Riot's signature color and fun.
Phoenix, please tell me you have the package.
I would if somebody was a little less aggressive.
One team tries to plant a bomb while the other tries to stop them in 5v5 competitive combat. So it might not sound all that different from other first-person shooters of yore. But unlike those other shooters, a gun is not the be-all and end-all of weapons to fire. When you purchase new guns between rounds, you can also get upgrades for the agent you picked. From blinding fire to druidic healing, each one is distinctive and can totally change your playstyle. And I know they're deadly, but I will never stop thinking these turrets are cute. Hey, little friend.
Shame. I love explosions.
So, those are the best FPS games to play on PC. Let us know in the comments what games you love to shoot your way through, and if you enjoyed, give this video a like. For more videos on all things gaming, subscribe to Logicool G and hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload.